What happens to an artist who prioritizes solitude over notoriety and noise-making over showmanship? When a voice that was once a part of the music of a generation simply disappears. A woman who made everyone stop and listen with her silk voice and well-known hits softly left it all behind. This is more than just Sade's narrative. It's the journey of a spirit that transformed quiet into her most powerful statement to date, fame into freedom, and suffering into art. Not all heroes begin their lives in the spotlight. The narrative of Sade Adu started in a region that was quiet and where people rarely remembered her name. Born Helen Folasade Adu in Ibadan, Nigeria, she had a happy upbringing till the age of 4. She, her mother, and her brother had to relocate to England after their parents' divorce. She moved from the balmy West African rhythms to Essex's chilly, overcast skies. She felt like a stranger in her own life at every location because of her name, skin tone, and voice. Being separated from one another was a more subdued aspect of those formative years than enthusiasm. She soon discovered that there was a cost to being different. Her name was difficult for her peers to pronounce. She was talking about a couple different things. Then she did what many children who are sensitive do. She lowered herself. She discovered how to blend in with the background. But she began to develop as an artist somewhere in the quiet. Sade's voice, which is frequently described as silky and classic, wasn't created just through practice. It was moved about to shape it. She held the stiffness of Britain and the rhythm of Nigeria in her breath. Because of this, her songs had a pain that was both universal and intimate. Every note she sang sounded like a secret being revealed. When she discovered music, she had no desire to become famous. After art school, she dabbled in modeling, fashion, and design. Though never fully visible, creation is always present. Until one night, just by chance, she joined a band named Pride. The underground funk band Pride performed in seedy bars. She sung in the distance, but the smoke made it difficult to hear her voice. However, as she called out "Smooth Operator," a change occurred. She didn't request praise. She requested it. When she sang, time paused. We shall never forget what transpired at that very moment. Her music was grounded on truth rather than flair. Sade offered something different in an era of phony pop and gaudy tricks. Honesty. Her debut single, Diamond Life, did more than just reach the top of the charts. It caused heartache. It received accolades and recognition from all around the world. But there was a negative aspect to prosperity as well. Journalists in the UK and other countries were unsure of how to interpret her. Newspapers perceived coldness, where others saw beauty. She was so composed that people began to call her cocky. Because she was quiet, others assumed she was chilly. Rumors of hidden pregnancy, extravagant spending, and even football club ownership were in the press. It was all phony. It was all horrible. Sade had lived her entire life yearning to be understood, so the bogus stories were more than just a nuisance. Her heart was broken by them. People took advantage of her refusal to put herself out there or play the fame game. When she requested privacy, others believed she was lying. There were fewer interviews conducted. No trust existed. Once a place of comfort, the stage became a trap. She stepped back. But it didn't end there. In actuality, these storms made matters worse. She found love and tranquility with filmmaker Bob Morgan when her public marriage ended. In search of protection, they fled to Jamaica, but there were gloomy sides to even heaven. The police stopped her one night, held her down, threatened her, and seized her passport. She was shaken by that raw, frightening, and unfair moment. She never returned after leaving the island early. In the morning, another setback followed, a protracted legal battle with former bandmate Paul Cook, who asserted ownership of some of their early tunes. The case continued from the 1990s until the 2020s. While Sade was in court, employing legalese to preserve her legacy, people all across the world were wondering if she had passed away. Once a sacred and passionate act, her art was reduced to money and contracts. But amidst all the legal issues, a lovely thing blossomed. She was in Jamaica when her son Isaac was born, and he became her pillar of support. Like her songs, she poured her heart and soul into being a mother. There were no parenting-related news articles or public statements. Just love, pure and distinct. There was no press release after Isaac came out as transgender. Not a huge deal. Just the unwavering, constant presence of a mother who had always chosen seclusion above celebrity. "She gave up everything to be there for me," he wrote after a while. The world witnessed the heart of a lady who sacrificed recognition to be present in that sentence, who chose to become a mother over a renowned person. Through operations, transformations, and the silent battles of being, Sade was by his side, not in the role of leader, as a mother, singing softly at night when you can't sleep, joining him in the garden to find hope, loved him in ways that were felt rather than seen. It was her finest work, and it was written with love rather than words. She didn't disappear, though. She returned in 2010 with Soldier of Love after a decade of silence. The voice remained near, harsh, and unnerving. The success of the record demonstrated that her artistic abilities had only improved with time. Like tourists, fans flocked to her in search of the comforting agony that she could only provide. But like everyone else, she moved away once more. The tour has no extras. There won't be a rush of news. She simply went back to her flow in silence. Sade currently resides in Gloucestershire, a rural area of England. Her home, a restored farmhouse, is her safe haven. No glaring lighting. Don't speak business. Only she, her pets, Ian, her partner, and the tranquility she had always desired, were present. According to her friends, she enjoys doing simple things like cooking, gardening, and caring for her aging mother. Only a few views are available. The first was a photo of her with her dog and family. Her eyes were steady, and her face looked serene. That's all. No action. Sade by herself, leading the life she chose. Her music serves as a foundation for the work of young musicians such as Frank Ocean, The Weeknd, and Beyoncé. However, her most significant statements were never found in a song. She made the decision to live her life as she saw fit, to escape the commotion, to instill love in my son, to reclaim silence as strength rather than as lack. In a world where people yell, it was silent. We listened. What about you? Have you ever preferred quiet to loudness? Stepped away to protect your spirit, not because you were afraid? Share your tale with us. It turns out that the deepest imprints can be made by the quietest sounds. Sade had no desire for fame. When it became too light for her to see, she took a moment to move away. She might have been assumed to be gone by the rest of the world. In actuality, though, she simply chose herself. Like a gentle breeze that you may feel but cannot touch, she has only appeared very infrequently in the years afterward. A single track from an album. A new studio time was rumored to exist. There was no proof. Nothing noteworthy. Only possibilities float in the quiet. But that's what gives her strength. Sade has become a symbol of solitude at a time when excessive sharing is cool. Almost a novel concept. She safeguarded something precious by remaining silent, the freedom to be completely human without being seen by others. Her life is about more than simply music and celebrity. It's a tale about strength, of prioritizing appearance over accomplishment, of realizing that loudness isn't always a sign of power. She treated her child with honesty and kindness. Despite treason, legal cases, and biased news coverage, she maintained her composure. She continues to live her truth in the rhythm of her garden, the laughter in her kitchen, and the stillness of a rural morning, not in the headlines. This is the meaning of memory. Not sales, not accolades, not even well-known records, but the silent, unflinching will to remain loyal in a society that prizes success. Sade is still significant because of this. Why, even when she isn't singing, her voice still sounds loud. She gave us songs, but she also gave us permission to use them. Give yourself permission to be tender, to be silent, to depart, to protect the crucial things. The most powerful lives are those that are lived honestly, not noisily. And you can find true strength in silence. Anyone who has ever felt different, unrecognized, or overpowered by loudness and decided to retreat inside, heal in silence, and grow at their own pace, will never forget her, even if her records are gathering dust on a shelf. But Sade never quite disappeared. She returned home. Even though Sade never spoke, it's possible that she was attempting to teach us this lesson the entire time. That being significant doesn't require constant visibility, that your value is unaffected by your frequency of appearance, income, or volume of speech, that leaving to choose peace, heal, or protect is acceptable. In a world that craves more, greater performance, more visibility, more content, Sade became more by making fewer choices. Reduce the number of interviews. Record music is reduced. Fewer responses. But even now, decades later, we can still feel the depth and authenticity of what she gave us. Her songs, it was never merely enjoyable. It was a secure location. Plans that are soulful for those who are silently coping with loss, longing, and suffering. Her recordings served as a kind of letter to those who were marginalized and unheard. And she didn't say anything. Being absent wasn't it. The edge was marked. Weapons. A premeditated act of self-respect and survival. After leaving the bright lights of stages and cameras, Sade is now leading a peaceful life in the country. She is grounded, not gone, simply exactly where she was supposed to be. She's not required to come back. She didn't truly disappear. Speakers are still playing her music. Her influence has been felt by artists. Her story resonates with everyone who has ever opted for completeness over hype. For you, what does Sade mean? Her voice might transport you back to a period of time when you were lost and in need of help. Perhaps you felt less isolated in your own desire for space because of her silence. Or perhaps, just possibly, she serves as a reminder that, in a society that never stops yelling, it's acceptable to live slowly, purposefully, and thoughtfully. Because stepping back is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. And often the stories that are whispered are the most memorable. Sade's tale is not one of surrendering. The goal is to take back control, about changing the narrative to suit her preferences. She demonstrated to us how to define ourselves by our truth, rather than allowing the world to define her by its expectations. She left the spotlight, not because she couldn't take the strain, but because she understood something that the general public frequently overlooks. Tranquility is more valuable than celebrity. She chose intention in a culture that is fixated on publicity. She opted for sincerity in a music industry that thrives on reinvention. She created a universe out of silence in a noisy world. We now see her for who she really is, a soul builder, as much as a vocalist. Someone who used suffering, stress, and loneliness as building blocks to create something sacred, a meaningful life, a family molded by unwavering love, and a voice that reverberates long after the final note fades. She is a guide for the present, not a specter of the past. A reminder that you have the right to slow down, even though the world may pressure you to be louder, faster, and flashier. To take a breath. To have a private, strong, and gentle life. Therefore, keep in mind that you're not merely listening to a song the next time you hear her voice coming through the speakers, perhaps during a rainy evening or a peaceful drive. A woman is changing quietly, and you can hear it. What it means to live in truth is being told to you. Maybe you're also hearing your own voice swell in the back of your mind. By taking lessons from Sade's story, we can live in silence, love passionately, and conceal the aspects of ourselves that the world doesn't need to see. that choosing peace is a show of wisdom rather than weakness. It's the kind of strength that comes from inside and doesn't require attention. Every aspect of her story, from the woman reconstructing her life with calm purpose to the lonely youngster surviving in two distinct worlds, has a profoundly human quality, something that reminds us of our personal anxieties, what we desire. We decide to back off, start over, or remain silent when the noise becomes too loud. Sade's voice might still resonate for that reason. It's not simply attractive. That's courageous. The universe dares to murmur when it wants to scream. Must remember that healing isn't necessarily something that happens in public, that your best moments may be hidden from others. As the titles roll, imagine what it would be like to live your life on your own terms. Should abandon activities that exhaust you, to re-establish what completes you. Should sing in a calm, sincere manner, even when no one else is there. Since you are able to speak, even in the absence of noise, particularly in the absence of noise.